Want to make your movie super memorable? Add a really weird death. It's guaranteed to make anyone who didn't really know what they were getting into want to talk about it for ages, and the folks who did come in knowing what to expect, at least you're meeting their expectations. This is the top 5 weirdest horror movie deaths. I love this stuff. Coming in at number 5, we've got Papa Kisslinger from Dracula 3D. Man, what was Argento thinking while making this movie? It's just so off-putting in so many ways. The use of color and music that made Argento the legend he is today are nowhere to be found. The lighting is messed up, the actors are half awake at best, and of course there's his daughter Asia Argento being put into many, how do I say it, compromising positions. Did you need some fast cash? Did you owe Rutger Hauer a starring role? Did you forget who you were for a second? Okay, let me set up this kill for you. Dracula 3D is a retelling of the classic tale of Dracula, the posh and mysterious man living in the castle above a poor town, wielding power and influence to get what he wants. Most of the time this means blood and mistresses, but hey, that just describes most rich people. Throughout the movie, Dracula makes all sorts of stealthy kills, usually by transforming into classic vampire-adjacent creatures. This could mean he turns into a bat, or a wolf, or an owl, or any number of other classic beings. A lot of these kills end up being rendered in some particularly cheap-looking CGI. It's not great, but we'll accept it. Eventually, Van Helsing gets involved and Dracula begins to make some bolder moves. He doesn't want to be sold out by the town, nor does he want to get killed by a vampire hunter. This eventually results in Dracula needing to kill the father of a young woman he has recently bit. How is he gonna do this? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say you will never guess. Does he turn into a bat, a cat, a wolf, a gigantic dark monster with razor-sharp teeth? If you answered any of the above, you'd be wrong. Instead, Dracula turns into a gigantic praying mantis, scuttles up the stairs, and then tears into this poor man's chest with a huge green claw. This is the kind of movie moment that stays with you long after the credits roll. Like, what? A praying mantis after everything we've seen so far. It takes a true cinematic mastermind to concoct something so far out there, so needlessly unexpected that anyone watching can't help but let their jaw hit the floor. Dracula praying mantis kills drunk man with clawed chest. What a sentence. Coming in at number 4, we've got Shelley from Castle Freak 2020. Now, the original Castle Freak had its fair share of weird deaths too, but none come anywhere close to this ridiculous, nausea-inducing death. See, there is a big twist in this remake that seems to be there for 2 reasons. So if you're super invested in seeing this 2020 remake with no spoilers, I'd advise skipping this entry. Cool. So in the original Castle Freak, the freak was a man with the mind of a child. The son of a baroness whose husband abandoned her, was locked away at an early age and served as her whipping boy up until her death. Unaccustomed to the world outside his dungeon, he does his best to reach out to the new tenants before overreaching and becoming violent. The new Castle Freak's freak is a woman. Why the change? Well, the first reason is sort of a plot point, as our blind protagonist finds out that she and the freak are long-lost twins, born of the same mother, destined for the same fate. Right, so neat. They can perform a vague ritual that doesn't really show up until the last second now. But the second reason that the freak is a woman is for this kill specifically, Shelley. Just to gross everyone out. Alright, so Shelley is a homewrecker. It's implied from the start that she's trying to steal poor Rebecca's boyfriend, and it's also implied that she's the reason Homie got distracted and crashed the car, which is the thing that caused Rebecca's blindness. So when Shelley shows up at the castle, you know she's gonna try to get a piece. Like, that's her entire character arc. She wants to boink this dude, so then she gets him drunk, and then she boinks the dude. So while they're getting down and dirty in the castle, Shelley decides she wants to get extra freaky. Tying his legs and arms to the bed and covering his eyes with some undergarments, she proceeds to start living her dream. But it soon turns into a nightmare though, as the Castle Freak silently slinks up behind and kills Shelley. If you think you know where this is going, you're probably right. The freak, rotten flesh and all, takes Shelley's place and mounts the bound and blindfolded man on the bed. It then proceeds to ride to its heart's content, making all of the despicable sloshy noises one would expect from a malnourished, murderous wall dweller. So Shelley dies mid-coitus and is replaced by an unwanted ringer. Yikes. Later on, the dude gets up and realizes that Shelley died and makes the awful realization that he got bait and switched. Coming at number 3, we've got Ben Tramer from Halloween 2. This kill is weird thanks to the little attention it gets in the long run. Immediately following the events of Halloween, Halloween 2 kicks off with a Michael Myers manhunt. Everyone is on high alert as the murderous maniac is on the loose after tormenting Laurie Strode. Anyone in a mask could be the killer, so the cops are understandably pretty jumpy. Loomis and his cop buddy see a group of revelers on the sidewalk and assume that Myers could be among them. After a short chase down the street, Loomis draws his gun on a kid in a mask similar to Myers, which causes him to stop in the middle of the street. All of a sudden, a different cop car comes speeding down the street, hits the kid, and then runs into a van, causing a massive fiery explosion. The cop behind the wheel claims the kid came out of nowhere, which, you know, it might be true, but also you're doing 60 down a residential street on Halloween. So they just exploded a kid for kinda sorta looking like Michael Myers. Then when more deaths are discovered, they confirm that they did indeed explode someone that wasn't Michael Myers. And they just kind of forget about it. It's never really brought up again. You hear about it a little bit in passing, but other than that, Ben Tramer died spectacularly for pretty much no reason, and nobody's really bothered by it. It's always felt pretty weird, right? Coming in at number 2, we've got Kowalski from Leprechaun 4 in Space. Any space-based slasher could take the cake on this one, but for making me say the term space gonorrhea out loud has to go to the Leprechaun. Early on in the movie, the Leprechaun is accosted by some space marines. He's a tough customer who somehow got his tiny hands on a lightsaber, so the marines have quite a bit of trouble taking him down. In the end, they do kill him with a grenade. Kowalski, being a bit of an overconfident lunatic, decides that the best course of action after killing a Leprechaun in space is to pee on the body. Bad call, Kowalski. See, the Leprechaun has plenty of tricks up his sleeve, and spirit transfer via urine stream is one of them. So as Kowalski is relieving himself, the Leprechaun's spirit travels up that waterfall and manifests upon Kowalski's member as space gonorrhea. But that's not all. Later on, while Kowalski is getting it on, the Leprechaun explodes out from his member, killing him. So yeah. To summarize, a dead leprechaun sent his spirit up a pee stream in order to infect a space marine's junk and then later use it to violently resurrect himself by exploding out during a sexual act and then flying away. And if that's not on your list of weirdest horror movie deaths, I don't know what to tell you. And finally, at number 1, we've got Janet from The Greasy Strangler. This entire movie is just one big pile of weird. Every character is weird. Every plot point is weird. Every musical cue is weird. And the ending, so weird. And of course, there are plenty of weird deaths, all enacted by the titular Greasy Strangler. You know, the old man who covers himself in cooking grease every night in order to partake in anonymous violent crime. What'd you expect? Spoilers from here on out, so make sure you're ready if you stick around for this. So after a movie jam-packed with strange, life-ending acts, we get one that might not be as visually strange as some of the others, but is somehow much weirder. See, the two main characters in The Greasy Strangler are Big Ronnie and Big Braden, father and son. Ronnie is the original Greasy Strangler, but spends most of the movie denying it. Braden falls in love with a young woman named Janet, which makes Ronnie jealous. So in between outings as the Greasy Strangler, Ronnie seduces Janet away from Braden. This of course causes a rift between father and son. Worse yet, Ronnie and Janet then proceed to taunt Braden with overt sexual acts. You would think that Braden would be done, both with Janet and his father, but in the end, this isn't the case. Instead, he proposes to Janet and she accepts. This is unacceptable to Ronnie, who evicts Braden, gets greased up, and kidnaps Janet. Braden finds the two of them in an empty movie theater, with Ronnie strangling Janet. Instead of saving her though, Braden takes over and strangles her until her eyeballs pop out, and then, as father and son, they eat the recently ejected eyeballs. What? Hopefully I didn't weird you out too much. Weird movie deaths are the gift that keeps on giving, so I see this video as a special present from me to you. What'd you think of the list? Are there any movie deaths way weirder than what I talked about today? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more petulant ones from the top 5 horror movie monsters that can't be stopped, part 3. Belle Powell says Art the Clown is definitely unstoppable, as shown by the end of the movie when he gets the morgue worker. We'll find out the limits of that unstoppability in the upcoming sequel. Ice9 says the only way to beat a xenomorph is failed box office numbers. Womp womp. Sorry, Ridley. Demetrius Sarparlidis says the tall man from Phantasm for the next part, an unstoppable force indeed. I couldn't agree more, although Reggie's ponytail is the true unstoppable force. And Eric Howery says, good video, Keegan. Thanks, Eric, good comment. And that's all the time we have for today. I'm going to meet my friend at the Void. He says I need to drop off something for him. Should be easy enough. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, Rutger Hauer. Let me set this kill up for you. I feel like I screwed up that whole bit. I'm just gonna run that through again. It takes a true cinematic mastermind. Hey, the new castles for the... I guess he's not really a trick-or-treater, he's a partier. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your...